of the line and some of the new guys who got to campus this summer and weren't there in the spring?
Well, the conversation for 2.5, 3 years now, whatever you want to call it, has been about depth and about trying to develop depth, and it's still, to me, just about as important piece as anything. I think we took a huge step last year, and you could tell that the defense improved greatly statistically. Obviously, we'd like to have done better with wins and losses, but statistically we improved, and I think you'll see some gains again this year, because I think right now we're staring at a situation that although it improved in year 2, I think it's going to improve drastically in year 3, because I think we were very fortunate in the 5 young guys that we did get in here. It's going to create pressure coming from the bottom, which will eventually be the middle, which will eventually be the top, with talented players that can get off the ball and move and are explosive, and some of those guys have some tremendous length and size as well. Guys that were here last year for their first year, like Yaya Ivey, he had a good year. He did some decent things. Every once in a while he'd show up and it was nice. But I think he's in a whole different spot. Second year in the defense, second year being around me. So he and I have a better working relationship, however you want to look at it. And I think he's going to explode onto the scene and have a great year. At nose guard, it's really entertaining right now. Really entertaining for these first several days. Last year we kind of had a one-man locked and loaded system. Malik Clark, who was doing okay, got hurt during camp and was out for about a month. He was back, but he could barely walk off of an ankle injury, and so he's healthy right now and looking phenomenal. Jaquez Turner, great addition. He's really starting to come into his own. He's an experienced ball player, but not experienced in this defense. So he's getting used to it now. He's getting accustomed to what we do and style of play, and he's really starting to excel. And then Desmond Tell, it's going to be a weekly. You may see a rotating starter at that position. I don't know yet. You may not. Somebody may establish himself, but those 3 right now are it's nip and tuck every day as to who's playing better and who's going to be the guy that starts the next day, which is a great thing to have. So I think the depth has really picked up, and not just the depth, the quality of depth. And, the one young guy that got here last January, which did make a big difference, was Ashton Gelati. And he's been, you never know. We always, of course, people ask you after signing day, hey, did y'all get a good class? Well, yeah, of course we did. We're never going to say no. We think we did. But when they get here and get feet on the ground, then you actually start seeing some things. And he's been not a surprise. I shouldn't say a surprise, but he's been a treat the whole time, because he is what we thought he was, and maybe even more. And then obviously he gained about 40, 50 pounds, whatever it's been, and he can still move. So he's gonna be excellent. And some guys like Mason Riger, who he's playing Tier 1 football right now. Now that's on the practice field, so we got to make sure it relates to the game field. But and then Ramon Purrier, another guy that's been outrageously good for the last 2 years, but then right now he's just playing rock solid football. And for me and our defense to have Tabarius Peterson come back for a 6th year as a 2-year starter with the reps he's got under his belt right now, what he's doing as a leader and as a guy that's seen good, seen bad, and understands our system, he's doing an unreal job with the young guys, the older guys, just as a pure leader. So it's really neat to see him perform well, but probably more importantly, lead well,
Hey, Coach Ivey, Michael McCammon, Cardinal Authority. You mentioned Jaquez Turner there. That was kind of the question I was going to go with. How important was, finding somebody out of the transfer portal with that type of experience, not just to give you depth, but also competition?
Well, it all depends on the person you get. And, it was something that we had thought could probably help us. When he got here, you never know how that's going to go. It's always important if the individual who's been doing something very different, I'm not saying good or bad, but something, no matter where you're at, you're doing it different. So for him to be at a different place, doing it a different way for all those years, and then to come here and be able to jump in and submit himself to doing it the way we're doing it in the weight room, on the practice field, in the meeting room. He's been a great addition. He's been a lot of fun to be around. And the main reason he's such a lot of fun is because he's got a good attitude. He's a business-like guy. He's got a ton of experience. I mean, he's a kid that's been an all-conference performer once, twice, three times. I don't know, whatever it's been. But the main reason I'm enjoying is because of his attitude and his effort. He's been great. Now, he's also got a lot of ability. So that's also very fun, and it's also going to help our team. He is quickly adapting to the techniques and the fundamentals that we use. And I'm not saying anything he was doing before was wrong. I'm just saying, of course, it's different. But he is all in as far as trying to do it exactly how we want him to do it. And because of that, with the talent that he's got, because he's a big kid that's twitchy, he's powerful. You know, he is going to be a great guy for us, helping us in the middle right there. Like I said, between him and Tell and Malik, you got an unbelievable competition. And I got to be honest with you, beyond that, you know, you're looking at Derek Dorsey, who's a 6-year guy. Caleb Banks, who just got here, but is an absolute freak. I mean, he's 6'6.5", 303. He can catch a ball one-handed and run around like a deer. He's amazing. And then, no doubt, Jared Dawson is still a guy that the light bulb's coming on. We got to keep screwing on it, get it in there tight enough. But when it gets all the way on, he's gonna be special too. So we've got some guys that are competing, which is awesome.
Hey, Mark, it's Pat Jaggers, ESPN Louisville.
Yes,
sir. In regards to the guys that are returning from last year, you know, from the moment you guys ended the season, spring, and obviously early summer now, who do you think in your mind, out of the returners, had made the biggest jump on the defensive line?
Who's made the biggest jump? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Well, who's made the biggest clamor, I would have to say, would probably be Ashton, just because, again, you don't know what he's going to be for sure. You think you know what he's going to be as you recruit him and look at him and meet him and talk to him, but you don't know. But he's gotten here and he's been a pretty consistent guy. If he can continue to stay humble, which I think he will. I think he truly will. He likes to work. He likes to study. He likes to get better. But he's been a great, not just an addition, but he's going to be a special player. But as far as pure improvements, it'd be real close. I think Malik Clark has been average at best to decent for the last 2 years. And right now, we don't know until we play a game, but he's been special at practice. And then there's no doubt. I mean, Yaya was a talented guy that would show a glimpse here and a glimpse there last year. But in practice, and we're just talking practice, so we got to wait till game day to make sure we're talking the right stuff. But in practice, he's been able to do a lot of things, whatever he wants to do when he makes up his mind consistently. So I think Yaya's probably improved the most as far as where it was at to where he is now. Now he's got to make that come to fruition on game day as well, you know?
Hey, Mark, Cameron with the Courier Journal again. I want to go back to the nose tackle positioning real quick.
Sure.
Two questions. One, I imagine Desmond Tell, he's good. He's healthy and good to go. I think I saw him out there Sunday.
Des looks awesome. I mean, he is moving quicker. He surprises me a lot of times because, I mean, he's a nose guard, and then sometimes I see him moving around, and he's quick. I mean, that sucker can move. So, yes, he's looking great. His shoulder, his knees, his ankles, his everything. He's playing explosive. He's playing quick. He's moving extremely well, and I don't see any health issues at all with him. He looks great. Matt and the guys did an excellent job, and then of course he did his part. And the guy loves football, and he wanted to be out there. He was sick, during spring ball because he wanted to be there. He wanted to be earning his spot, earning his slot, getting his time. And he's one of the guys that he appreciates the game and appreciates being able to be around it. So he looks great right now, to answer your question.
And then a quick follow-up to that. You mentioned, well, in the last couple of years, I mean, in nose guard, you had GG, and then last year it was pretty much Goldwire, and then Tell came on late. You mentioned 3 nose tackles. How does that depth there help you? Because that's depth you haven't had at nose tackle since you guys have been here.
It's a totally different thing. Gigi was the guy and the only guy, and I couldn't tell you why Gold didn't want to push for it that first year, but he didn't, and so there was no pressure. It was always, hey, this is your spot, and he knew that. Last year we were getting a little competition until we had the injury with Malik, and then it was Goldwire's spot, and he knew that. Now they both played well and did good stuff, but it's and I know. It's a different deal when every single day you have to compete to keep that job or get that job back, or however you want to look at it. And those three names I mentioned, but I'm telling you, there's some other guys. I mean, I don't know where Caleb Banks will be at by midseason. I don't know. I mean, he's got some abilities that are just outlandish. So, but it's a whole different deal to be able to have those guys. We've already changed the depth twice now in the 4 days because of the way they graded out the day before. So that could be a all year thing. And if it is, if they all keep fighting for it, they'll all get really, really good compared to I'm here, you're there. We all know that. And let's just keep playing fun. Hope we can win a game or two. It's very different, much better.
Mark, hey, it's Jody Dimling with Cardinal Authority. We've heard a lot about Ashton. What specifically does he do with his skill set and what he can do on the line that stands out? And then can you just kind of the other guys that you brought in, the other 4 freshmen, we talked about Banks, but those other guys too, how have they adjusted to being here, the newcomers?
Well, Ashton's got he's unbelievably powerful, first of all. I mean, I'm sure most of y'all have seen the video that Mike posted of him power cleaning 405 pounds, which is pretty unbelievable for a freshman. But his form, he concentrates on doing things right all the time. He's a super powerful kid. He's a super twitchy kid. He's really explosive. But he's also he's concerned about doing things right. He just doesn't rely on athletic ability. He doesn't just assume that I can go out there and run around and make plays because I'm better. He assumes that he's got to learn it inside out. He is one of the guys that's constantly grabbing me, coach, and asking this question or that question. So he's very conscientious about how he does things and not just trying to be an athletic kid. He's made a couple plays, and I asked him what he's doing right there. And when he explained it to me in the thought process, it was pretty impressive because he told me what he'd done, and because it wasn't exactly what I'd coached him to do. And I'm like, well, that's good. That's good intuitive thinking right there. So, the kid he's made multiple sacks in a couple practices already this fall. And he's just a lot of strength, a lot of explosion, and he cares, and he's a smart kid on top of that. And like I said earlier, if he consistently stays where he's at with a very humble attitude, and he loves the game, and he's just a pleasure to be around, then he's going to keep getting better. And that's the goal. But he's been fun. You said the other 4 guys. We talked about Banks a little bit already. He's just with his size, it's crazy the way he can move and some of the things he can do. Victwan Brown is. He's going to be in my opinion, if we can keep these 5 guys together that just got here, it's going to be kind of scary down the road. I mean, I think it's a big time good thing. Vic's got that, I don't know how to explain it, but he's that alpha guy, that alpha male that he's just in charge of his emotions and in charge of the people around him, and very much draws the respect of people because of the way he does things, including myself. He's always very businesslike, but still enjoys it. You can say anything you want to him, coach him as hard as you want to, or love him up, and he's the same person. I think that's because he played in an unbelievable high school program and just how he's been raised and the person he is. Very talented. Raheem is, he is extremely twitchy and extremely quick off the football. Myself and Court Dennison were watching him yesterday just in one certain play, and he looked at me and I looked at him. I'm like, yeah. He gets off the ball. He is absolutely lightning in a bottle, and boom, when the ball snapped, he's gone. Now, he's still learning. There's a lot of things he's going the wrong direction here or there, but he's a really talented player. Who I'm missing, R.J. Sorensen. He's had a good fall camp so far. I don't know if he's a guy that's going to explode on the scene right now, but I think he's a guy that's definitely going to help us as we go. And who did I miss? That's Caleb and Ashton, Victwan, Raheem, and RJ. Right? Did I get all 5 of them? Yeah.
You got them.
To me, it's an exciting group. I sure hope that all 5 of them, and in this day and age of everything ain't just how I want it. You know, people giddy up and roll, but I think these guys are pretty well grounded. And, you know, you'd like to see them a year down the road, 2 years down the road, dear Lord, 3 or 4 years down the road. It's an exciting thing to think about, in my opinion.
Anything else for Coach Ivey? All right, Coach.
Thank y'all very much. Y'all have a good day.